Shalom and good day all, this is Healing29 back again for another DC comic review, and as you can see here I will be covering DC Pride 2022 issue 1, and as you can see here this is quite an interesting cover, and I'll give my rating for the cover, which is a 6.5 out of 10. Now, to those who don't know, this has about 12 stories in it, but I'm not going to be able to show art in relation to all of these stories. So I'll do my best to show some art around the beginning, middle and end, as well as be able to move into the story and art ratings of each one. Now, this is some art around the beginning. In fact, this is some art connected to the very first story. And I must admit, I really don't like that panel all that much. Alright, I understand what they're trying to do, but it was very terribly done. And I mean absolutely terribly done. And who gives a flying F if there is an appearance of a straight pride flag in the fucking flag that this multiversal Superboy is wearing? Fake John Kent and his boyfriend. A little bit of art in relation to one of the other characters that are in this. And I must admit, I actually somewhat like this art. And I think this character would probably be best suited off in their own multiverse, to be completely honest. And the way that this art looks, it looks like it could almost be set, or this character could probably be set in maybe the early 1930s, in a very black and white era. And if I remember, I think her name is called Jo. And I think if she was in her own multiverse, connected to that time era, I think that would be great. And last but not least, before we get to see some of the art there connected to the Kevin Conroy art that's peeking in, we've got something in connection to Multiverse 11, which all the gender flipped heroes are. And last but not least, the story around Kevin Conroy, who is the voice of the Batman animated series Batman. So now it's time to move into the story and art rating of all of them, or all of the stories that are in here. And starting off with first things first, and that is Super Pride, to which is story 1, to which I gave a 5 out of 10 for the story. The depiction of Damian Wayne in this story was terrible, as well as what they did to John Samuel Kent. But I also gave the art a 6.5. For the second one, Confessions, for the story, I gave a 6.5. The art, a 6.5. Moving into story number 3, which actually focused around the character of Connor Hawke, I actually gave a 7 for the story, as well as a 7 for the Hawk, and I really like what they did with Damien in that. They did actually feel that they captured the mature side of Damien's character, and not the stupid side of Devin Grayson. My goodness. And yes, there are those in the LGBTI community who would like to see Devin Grayson cancelled. And you know what? I don't fucking blame them. Moving into Up a Bat, I gave this story a 6.5, but the art a 7. I didn't really like the story that much, and it was really stupid. But it's not the only one that also got a low score. For the next one, A World Just Kept For Me, which is story 5, a 6.5 for a 7 for the art. Now, the Gumshoe on Green, I gave a 6 to the story, but a 7 for the art, as I actually enjoyed the artwork in that. And as I brought up before, in relation to the art that was seen around that area, I think that character would actually work better in a multiverse of their own, outside of the main DC universe, and not in the main DC canon. Not so much an Elseworlds, but sort of like multiverse adjacent, or even an Elseworlds adjacent story. Moving into story 7, I gave a 6 out of 10 for the story, a 7 for the art. Moving for the next one, Bats in the Cradle. I actually enjoyed this story as it centered around Kate Kane. It had nothing to do with really anything in relation to the character's sexuality, but if anything, it's sort of linked to her relationship with her father, and to which I gave the story a 7.5 out of 10. It's probably one of the highest ratings, or one of the first highest ratings that I actually gave in this, and a 7 for the art. Moving into the special delivery, 6.5 with the multiverse Tim and the multiverse Bernard. But a 7 for the art. I did in fact like the art. Moving into story 10, which is The Hunt. A 5 out of 10 for both story and art. Story 11. Are you ready for this? Now, I think one of these... story 11 was linked to Multiverse 11, to which I gave a 7 out of 10, and a 7 out of 10 for the art. And last but not least, Kevin Conroy's own backstory in this, as to how he became Batman. He wasn't afraid to say any offensive F words. And putting it bluntly, I gave this story an 8 out of 10. Along with the art, 8 out of 10. Sure, some people might not like the art. I didn't mind the art, because I think it worked for the story he was trying to bring across. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.